that, I wonder. Who wants to know who to blame?
How are we doing, Robby?
I think it's...
I hear feedback, so that's a good thing, right? Hi.
What is this?
You're muted, Robby.
Oh, snap.
Oh boy.
No, it was just so loud. Oh, we're back and it's home. Why is it so loud, though? Oh, no. I'm so sorry, everyone listening.
Oh no!
Hi, we're the Game Brass.
I'll wait.
Hi, we're the Game Brass.
Oh, too much snare. Hey everybody, sorry about that. So I'm gonna try and turn down the input gain probably a little bit. We should be probably okay to listen to now. Oh, okay, that's better. Hi everybody, sorry about that. So I'm trying a new computer setup this time, and apparently didn't check the audio. So always check the audio. Hi, we're the Game Brass.
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 Are we still clipping?
Maybe a little bit, but not like we were. We were like
Somebody
bad headphone. Yeah, as Ranza says on Twitch, rip headphone users. I am so sorry. Okay.
Welcome to the Xbox 360 version of Game Brass Listening Party.
Oh my gosh. Saved it better now.
Take two. Are we ready?
I think we're actually.
I think we're actually ready.
On
Good.
now, and it's
Good,
actually
good.
working. Well, anyways, thank you all for being here. Now that I can say this and you can hear me, yeah, we're just as Andrew Meredith says, typical brass section, super loud. Why don't we do the introductions in score order as we attempted to do last time?
Incredible. John Robert.
Well, hello. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is John Robert Matz. I am your piccolo trumpet player on this album, but occasionally I do play the normal B-flat trumpet and once in a while a bass trumpet because people love the bass trumpet and it's the best trumpet.
Hi, I'm Robby Duguay. I play the Flugelhorn on this album. I'm normally the second trumpet, and also a bass trumpet is just a valve trombone.
Shots fired. Oh my gosh. Look at that valve trombone John Robert has. If only it was distinguishable from a bass trumpet.
Next up, Danny Flam.
Anyway.
Oh, my turn?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
My name is Danny. That's my name.
Flam. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. Danny
Incredible.
Flam. I play French horn at the Game Brass. And I also play French horn, and I play French horn. And I also played the French horn on the Game Brass. Yeah.
I got the picture.
Yeah. There's no Chimbistang this time, right?
No.
Not this time.
Okay, good.
JohnStacy.
Hello, my name is JohnStacy. I know John Robert Matz, and I am normally the utility brass player in the Game Brass, but for this album, I play French horn for the vast majority of everything, and then I also play the French horn player's doubler instrument, which is the bass trombone for one track.
The classic doubling. Hello everyone, I'm Daniel Romberger. I am the trombonist of the Game Brass, and I arranged all the tracks on this album that you will hopefully enjoy. Coming up next is Allison. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, that's me. Sure. Hello. I am Allison, and I play trombone a lot. And when I'm not doing that, I'm lurking on YouTube, playing trombone a lot. That's it.
And Alex.
Hello. I'm Alex, tuba player for Game Brass, and on this album I played all entirely C tuba, I believe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I also forgot about sitting next to JohnStacy is Lauren Stacy.
Hi, I am also a horn player. Just a horn player though.
Yeah. Lauren and Allison joined us for this album. I think each of you played on every single track except for one of them, and it was a different one that you were missing. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Thomas Kresge.
I'm here too. Still hanging out. Normally I arrange a lot of stuff, but this time I took a break and Daniel did it all, and I did all the mixing. And I guess I'm a producer now. I make sure my other job is being the bad guy, making sure everybody gets their recordings in. All
It was
that.
hardly a break.
I wouldn't say
Yeah.
a bad guy. You're just
Yeah, I
you
had
get it
a
done.
break.
The term is like producer, firelighter.
Producer.
The Wrangler.
Yeah, the Wrangler, and that's the game brass. So Daniel, let's hear what's coming up next.
Yeah. All right. So this album that we are listening to is The Horns of Hyrule. It is the Game Brass's 5th album, and it is a tribute to the Legend of Zelda series that started on its 35th anniversary, which was earlier this year. So the first track that we're going to hear, we have, I should say just general overview of the album. There are 11 tracks total that span every single console game of the Legend of Zelda franchise. Every single main series console game, I should say, with all due respect to like Link's crossbow training. Anyway, each of those games are represented, and I tried my best to choose an important track from each one. Every single one of these tracks is arranged for a 16-piece brass ensemble. The specific makeup of the 16-piece brass ensemble is slightly different for each track, so I will say everyone's credits before beginning each song. And with that being said, let's go into the first song on the album, which is the main theme for The Legend of Zelda itself, also known as the Overworld, featuring, in addition to the people that you see here, we have Dan DeSimone on trumpet, Jamail Chachere also on trumpet, Brooke Ferd on trumpet, Alana Yee on French horn, Eric L. on trombone, Rebecca Patterson on bass trombone, Abby Lannon, also known as Goofy Youth, on Youth, and Isaac Smith on tuba. Hope you all enjoy. All right.
We're back.
We're back. That was the main theme from The Legend of Zelda. It debuted on Zelda's 35th anniversary, and with that one in particular in the arrangement, I wanted to allude to like the main theme from the series as a whole, and not just the first title part of from Legend of Zelda. So the very first thing you heard was very closely based on the first time that you hear the Zelda overworld theme, which is in the NES version. But then after that, it goes to Tal Tal Heights, which is from Link's Awakening. Then it goes to the Link's Awakening version of the main theme. And then finally, it goes to a version that is inspired by the credits of A Link to the Past. And that's the credits theme to A Link to the Past is honestly one of my favorite pieces in the entire Zelda franchise. It's just really good. So hope you all enjoyed that one. Next, John Robert will introduce the next piece, which will be a premiere.
Yes, as was just mentioned, this next one is a world premiere. No one has heard. Wait, no, wait, the album's out already. Never mind. No one has seen this video.
Correct.
So you will see the fruits of many hours of rendering. 3 computers exploding in flames. And no, I'm kidding. Actually, no, it's as always, absolute nonsense. But I think you're going to like it. This is Gerudo Valley from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, composed originally by Koji Kondo. Enjoy. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your time in Gerudo Valley. That was Gerudo Valley from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time by Koji Kondo, featuring the outstanding playing of everyone you see here, plus Avery Yonahiro, David Ortiz of Mariachi Entertainment System, Matthew Gargliato, Matthew Brockman, Lauren Stacy, well, she's here, Eric L., Lisa Liz, Abigail Lannon, Isaac Smith, and I think that was pretty great. Some of you may have noticed we had some fun bits with time signatures in that. Would you care to enlighten us about some of those interesting rhythmic choices there, metrical choices there, Mr. Romberger?
Well, I hope you had a good time because we had several bad times. Time signature wise, like I actually struggled for a little while figuring out what specific piece from Ocarina of Time to do because there are so many pieces in the series, and for Horns of Hyrule, I wanted to make sure that I had a track that debuted in the game that it was from represent the game. So deciding on doing Gerudo Valley was actually somewhat of a last minute thing. And part of the reason for that was I wasn't exactly sure what I could do with it. The original track relies so heavily on Spanish guitars and has largely the same chord progression. So I just kind of took those elements and wanted a reason to experiment and to make our version something different. So having the more intricate rhythmic figures was a way of having a lot of rhythmic emphasis without having a guitar, which is like a rhythmic instrument specifically. And then I'm hearing like some background noise from somewhere.
Yeah, someone's got a background voice. Daniel, I remember so this was arranged really late in the album, but it's really early on the album. I remember you sort of not banging your head against the wall, but really thinking about this track has been done, not to death, but it's been done a lot, and it's been done really well by some amazing ensembles. And like, how do you make it good and specific to us? So not just having the like all the way through. You made it really cool. I think everyone in the chat agrees.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
It took a long time to record, but yeah.
Yep. This one, everyone who played on this is absolutely a heavy hitter, and hats off to everyone for getting through the things. And yeah, like in terms of trying to get an arrangement that is unique to us and that sounds good with the instrumentation that we have, I tried to make sure that I was still leaning on our strengths as an ensemble and not just the strengths of the instruments that would normally be associated with the song. And yeah, a lot of that was in 15/16 at the beginning. There's a bit of a polymeter phrase going on. The ending switches pretty rapidly among different time signatures, 2/4, 6/16. Someone said 7/8 earlier. 7/8 would be another way that you could write that in one uniform grouping.
But why would you want to when you could
Where's the
be
fun in
more
that?
allotted? Yeah, right. Come on.
Use less ink.
Right. But like, I think the point of having the different rhythms isn't like specifically to obsess over one individual time signature, but rather it's a way of keeping a piece dynamic and interesting and engaging. And I tried my best to do that. So I think that's all I have to say about Gerudo. And with that, we can go into the next piece, which is the Great Sea from The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. And I say it's the Great Sea. It also alludes to several pieces that are not the Great Sea from Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, but I'll talk about that a little bit more after we're done playing this one. So I hope you enjoy.
All right, here's the Great Sea. Hi,
All
everybody.
right. Hello. That was The Great Sea from The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, originally composed by Kenta Nagata, and featuring, in addition to all of the people that you see here, we have Dan DeSimone on trumpet, Brooke Ferd also on trumpet, Peter Jones also on trumpet, Jackie Fazekas on French horn, Eric L. on trombone, Rebecca Patterson on bass trombone, Dewey Newt on one of the euphoniums. Wait. Actually, that was the only euphonium in this one. Isaac Smith on tuba. So that was The Great Sea. What's interesting about this one is it's not just The Great Sea. It kind of was inspired by, I noticed a lot of pieces that led into other pieces and then was able to chain them together. So midway through the rendition of The Great Sea, it changes to The Cursed Sea, which happens when there is a lot of enemies in the surrounding area. The Cursed Sea is a bit of a mashup in the Wind Waker itself between the Great Sea theme and then the Ganon theme. So also in the middle of the Cursed theme, I had a very, very well disguised allusion to the Dark World Dungeon theme from A Link to the Past. It's difficult to kind of pick out because that's when a lot of the instruments are playing trills. So from Ganon's theme, I went to Hyrule Fields from Four Swords Adventures, which is a mashup of Ganon's theme with the intro to A Link to the Past. And from there it goes back to the Great Sea, and the very end, the final fanfare is The Great Sea, but the version from Phantom Hourglass, which has a slightly different melody. So this is The Great Sea from The Wind Waker, but it really has about 5 or 6 allusions to other pieces inside it, and it just happened to form like a chain reaction. So I hope Zelda fans appreciate that one. Allison, would you be interested in introducing the next piece?
I mean,
Sorry, before you
I
talk.
guess so.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Everybody, you know her, you love her. It's Allison Martin Trombone. You've seen us and followed us on YouTube. Please check her out, Allison Martin Trombone. Now you can talk.
Oh, thank you very much. Hi, I'm also on trombone. If you didn't know, I play trombone on YouTube. Feel free to follow me if you like. I am introducing the next piece, which is, I believe, Temple. Temple?
Yes.
Temple. Very simply, Temple. This is from Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And actually, this is one of the first pieces I recorded for the game brass. And this was the piece that made me think, wow, oh, like you guys are good. Okay. And then I had to practice. And that was the thing. And then I needed to practice after that. Daniel, am I allowed to ask you a quick question before we begin about compositional
Of course.
things?
Of course.
Is there anything that you think would be good to like listen out for, like texturally, in this?
This one made the horns work a lot. The horns 16th note parts. It's a figure that is very idiomatic to trumpet and much more difficult on horns, but the horn players that we have are phenomenal, so they're able to play it super well.
Oh, so that was just you going, yeah, horns, and just sort of letting that out, or?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay. I got you. Is there anything behind the sort of the stacking? I feel like there's a lot of sort of stacking chords that happen in this track, aren't there? Sort of like chords that sort of happen one note at a time.
Yeah, okay, I know what you mean there.
They sound cool.
I'm glad you like them. I can talk to you a little about the history of this one. This is actually my third time arranging the temple theme from Zelda 2. The very first time was for Zeldathon. I made it as part of a medley of a bunch of Zelda 2 songs, and we didn't end up getting to play that yet, but that might be something that we'll do in the future. So the dungeon theme from Zelda 2 is probably the most well-known piece from that, mostly because of Super Smash Bros. Melee, let's be real. That was at the end. So from that, I made a version that was just the dungeon theme and just for the quintet. So when it came time to do Horns of Hyrule, obviously I knew the track we wanted to do was the temple theme. So some of the ideas that I had in the previous two versions were extrapolated onto this one, but definitely not all of them. There's a lot of material that is completely unique to this one. Each of the other ones is like less than 2 minutes, but this is almost 5.
Right? It was definitely, I felt like there was a lot added to it. All right, well, I guess there's nothing much more to be said about that. So without further ado, here's Temple from Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And we are back. This was Temple from Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And of course, I believe all of us played on this track. And in addition, we have several other players. We have Avery Yonahiro on trumpet. We have Nathan Vanegas on trumpet. Brooke Ferd on trumpet. We have, Elena Yee on French horn. We have Eric L. on trombone. We have Rebecca Patterson on bass trombone. Abby Lannon euphonium. Isaac Smith on tuba.
And the piece was originally composed by Akito Nakatsuka. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely name, Nakatsuka. Yeah.
Nakatsuka. I don't know what's next.
Any insights that you want to share about that piece, Daniel?
I like the theme. I don't know.
It's a good theme.
Cool. It's cool, guys.
People don't think about Zelda 2 very much. It's kind of like the Forgotten Zelda. It's a side scroller. It's an interesting game.
I can't believe they made a game off of the Smash Melee stage.
I know, right? Who'd have thought? What an absurd idea.
Weird side trivia. The guy who made our logo, the game brass that looks like the Game Boy and then the brass instrument, his name is Henry Faber, and his favorite Zelda game is that game. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
It's honestly it's considered the black sheep of the franchise because it's so different, but it's really compelling in its own way. I will say, when I was arranging this one, a thing that I noticed about pretty much every song in the Zelda 2 soundtrack is a lot of the phrases just repeat themselves exactly. So ba da 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 da, and then the second half is ba da 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 da, and it does that pretty constantly throughout the entire soundtrack. So as a result of that, wanting to make something more of a dynamic arrangement, a lot of my goal with a lot of these is creating a musical experience that is satisfying regardless of whether or not you've actually played a Zelda game. Is something that you would potentially be able to go into a concert and listen and not necessarily know any of the game context and still be able to appreciate. So with that goal in mind, it forced me to have to think a bit outside the box in how to make some of the transitions and some of the more interesting moments happen. So I hope you all found it interesting because I did my best.
It was.
It was a good one.
It was very nice.
Yeah, so is it da 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 da, or is it da 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 da?
It does go up multiple times.
Some compositions use call and answer. This is more just call and call.
Call and call.
Yeah.
Right. Call and call.
Fine. You know what? It takes less memory. It's fine.
Yeah.
True.
It's
like two identical twins who are calling each other on the phone, and they also
Saying
have
exactly
each
the same
other's
thing.
sentences.
Yeah. You ask them if they want ice cream, and they both say yes.
Exactly.
they're the two identical twins that finish each other's, and there we go.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Perfect. Nailed it.
So this is
up.
This is the Horns of Hyrule. We are actually. This is out as of yesterday. This is a thing that exists on a platform that you are able to obtain. I'm going to post the Bandcamp link right now. Right now, the Horns of Hyrule is only on Bandcamp. But if you're liking what you're hearing, consider checking it out. We have digital albums and compact discs, physical albums that will be shipping relatively soon. August 19th is around the corner. This will also be on other streaming platforms eventually, but for now, we have this Bandcamp link. And if you like what you're hearing, please consider getting it. Next up, I believe Alex is introducing the next piece.
Yes. Speaking of liking what you're hearing, so next up we're going to have Ballad of the Goddess from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And a little fun fact about this one, there's a good chunk of the filming we did in VR chat. I have a VR headset and put it on, went in, and in VR chat, you can upload worlds and do all this stuff. Some wonderful people uploaded just a ton of Zelda stuff. So there's the entirety of Skyloft directly ripped from the Wii version of Skyward Sword. And then I also found where someone ripped the Smash Wii U stage of Skyloft And it was really cool because not only could I get some really wild angles because I can fly around and get these cool pictures. Sometimes things move. There's like, the flags or the windmill stuff, like all this stuff moves. So cool. And then, but also I could stand on the Smash stage in VR and look over the entirety of Skyloft and get a photo. And that was like, once I realized I could get up there, I was like, oh my gosh, Robby's going to love this. Like, so it is pretty exciting. I'll talk
That's
again
some good
about more
footage.
VR chat footage because it's been pretty fun to film as long as the worlds are in there. But
Yeah, I'll add from that shot that you got looking over the entirety of Skyloft. Back when we did Paper Mario with the larger collaboration, there was a shot that I threw in super last minute that we called the Temple of Ader. Which was just a shot where we with green screen put everybody in like the same shot, and then like Slam Bob like pops in from behind a pillar at the last second. Anyway, I used the same technique in a shot that's very early in this. I want to call it Temple of Ader again, but it's not. But yeah, everyone's sort of like in the foreground and background, just all chilling on their green screen in this large shot. I really enjoy that one.
All right. So without further ado, let's take a listen to Ballad of the Goddess from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, originally composed by Hajime Wakai. Hello, welcome back. That was Ballad of the Goddess from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. It's a lot of fun to make and record. In addition to everyone who played, you see in here who played on there, we also have Avery Yonahiro on trumpet, Brookford on trumpet. We also had Jackie Vazekas on French horn, James Nigas on French horn as well, Eric L. on trombone, Andrew Gabrowska on euphonium, Dewey Newt also on euphonium, Isaac Smith on tuba as well. And yeah, is there anything, Daniel, you want to say about this track before we pop it over to the next one?
Sure. So this one uses, in addition to the Ballad of the Goddess theme, it makes use of Zelda's Lullaby. The reason for that is when the trailer for Skyward Sword, not HD, released 10 years ago, people were extremely excited and discovered that if you play the trailer music, which was Ballad of the Goddess backwards, Zelda's Lullaby was backmasked into it. So including Zelda's Lullaby here was my way of kind of acknowledging that and also trying to put two songs together and see how they mash up. Also, Zelda's Lullaby is such an important song for the franchise. I really wanted to make sure that it was included somewhere. And it originally debuted in A Link to the Past, but we chose a different song from A Link to the Past. So this was a good way to put it back in. Before we go on to the next song... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I remember we were talking about it when we were planning the album. You hadn't chosen all the tracks yet, and it was hard to choose what track was going to be from A Link to the Past. And I kept pushing for Dark World, and Zelda's Lullaby was one of the ones you were considering for that game as the representation.
Yep, and then I realized that it was actually from A Link to the Past, not Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
Even though... And the reason I didn't know that is because I play a lot of A Link to the Past randomizer, which happens to cut out what would be Zelda's Lullaby. Anyway, I think before we go on, we should reintroduce ourselves for the benefit of anyone walking in. I am Daniel Romberger. I am the trombonist for the Game Brass. We are listening through Horns of Hyrule, which is a 30... Sorry. We are listening to Horns of Hyrule, which is a 11-track celebration of The Legend of Zelda's 35th anniversary. And each of these tracks was performed for 16-piece brass ensemble. And I hope you are enjoying what you're hearing so far. Going next, score order. Let's go.
Yes, my name is John Robert Matz, and I am your piccolo trumpet and occasionally regular trumpet and also bass trumpet. But we already passed that piece. Player on this album.
Hi, I'm Robby Duguay. I'm one of the founding members of the group. I usually play the second trumpet, but on this album, I play the Flugelhorn.
Hi, I'm Dan. Oh,
Yep. You're up.
Yes,
I'm Danny Flam, and I play the French horn on the album. Okay, cheesy joke, but it's a cheese. Yeah.
But my ears.
Yeah. Oh, don't mute me while I'm telling you who I am.
All right. Next.
Anyway,
Stacy's, go for it.
Hey, my name is JohnStacy. I play the
I'm
French horn
JohnStacy.
and the French horn doubling instrument, the bass trombone, on this album, and I'm normally the utility brass player for the Game Brass. And this is a very beautiful woman.
My name's Lauren Stacy. I just play horn sometimes as a guest.
Show us the dog.
Oh yeah, this is Mahler.
Mahler.
Hi, Mahler.
Oh, hi, Mahler.
Oh,
Really
hi,
is that
Mahler. Okay, now I see it.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alison Trombone. I have a channel, Alison Martin Trombone, and I play trombone as a guest on this album.
If you didn't know, she plays trombone.
I do, sometimes, like on occasion, on this album.
Alex?
Yep, and I'm Alex Hill. I'm a tuba player for Game Brass, and for this album, I played entirely C tuba, bottom tuba parts, laying down the meaty tuba.
And Thomas.
I'm Thomas Kresge. On this album, I did all the mixing.
Thomas Kresge, you're also very soft. Can you say it again?
Your mic is suddenly extremely quiet.
Because I turned it off. Oops. I did all the mixing. I'm Thomas Kresge. Did all the mixing on this album and helped to produce it.
Yeah. All right. JohnStacy, why don't you say the next track?
So, before I got to talk about this track, I got to talk about the Game Brass tradition. Okay? It is tradition with the Game Brass albums that we get get done with the album, you know, as it were, arranging and all that, and then somebody's like, "But wait, we got
Here's
to
a
do it."
terrible idea. Yes.
It happened with Brassylvania with the suite from Grim Fandango. At the minute, it's like, hey, let's just add a whole suite at the end. This one right here was added very, very, very late in production, mainly because it was didn't think it was licensable, and then it was, and that's kind of like the VGM puzzle is, hey, is it licensable? No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Okay, yes, we're doing it while it still is. So anyways, this is my favorite track on the album. It's so optimistic. It's so fun to listen to. It's so much fun to play. This is the field theme from Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. And yeah, I have some nostalgia because I played it for like an hour and a half when I was in 6th grade, and it was great. So that's... Welcome back. So this track was special in that instead of the regular 16, it had 48 people on it, as you can tell, because the regular roster it had the additional color variants, the palette swaps. So this one was a special track for that reason. In addition,
I mean, everyone knows that a palette swap is a whole new character.
Yeah.
64, but yeah.
Echo Fighters.
Nice.
Okay, well, anyways, so the people that were here on this one, in addition to the ones that you see in this room right now, we had Mark Papagon on trumpet. We had Ty Namato also on trumpet. We had Nathan Froelich on trumpet. We had Jackie Fazekas on French horn. We had Eric L. on trombone. We had Sir Enam Mort on bass trombone. Isaac Smith on euphonium. Jordan Moore on euphonium. Vivian Kung on tuba. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. The original tune was composed by both Koji Kondo and Asuka Ota. So that's wonderful. I did it. I love this track. Like, I really, really love it.
Thank you.
And now I'm going to pass you over to a really, really, really wonderful tuba player.
Oh,
Alex. He's
Thank
going
you.
to do the next shindig.
yeah. So next up, we have Clocktown from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, one of my personal favorites. And this one is another one that I filmed entirely in VR chat. And for this one, I didn't do it alone. There's many scenes where I had friends help out. And it was really great because not only is the entirety of Clocktown and even like beyond in Clocktown, like in VR chat, but so is like some avatars and stuff. So we were able to get like the carpenters and have them up there acting like they're working on stuff, and you'll see them running around and other things. We got different shots of like the milk bar and a lot of that, and it's super fun. It is wild the things we can do and the freedom you have to film in something like VR chat is really cool. So I really hope you all enjoy it. Again, Clocktown from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, composed by Koji Kondo. Hello, welcome back. That was Clocktown from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Hope you all enjoyed it. Real quick to shout out some people who were on this, in addition to everyone you see on screen. We had Eric Silver on trumpet, Brooke Ferd on trumpet as well. We had Alana Yee on French horn, Eric L on trombone, Ethan Santos on bass trombone, Abigail Lannon on euphonium, Isaac Smith also on euphonium, and Dacian Grata on tuba. And in addition to that, for the filming, I had some people shout out on the list there. Their gamer tags here had Wireless, Shia, Jasper, Parl, EuroMD, and Tosador, who all helped with the filming and acting within VR chat. Thank you guys for helping out with that.
Am I allowed to say something about this?
Say something.
Go for it.
Please.
As you know, my name is Allison Martin of the Allison Martin Trombone YouTube channel. And let me just tell you that I heard there's a legend that says that the 5th position on trombone is a myth. And I can tell you after playing this piece, it is a myth. I can't find it this whole time.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, what's my favorite little like trombone cartoon is like Winnie the Pooh and Piglet walking down. He's like, "Where do you think 5th position is?" And then your phone's like, "Nobody knows."
Probably the moon ate it. That's what happened. That's what happened. It's nowhere at all.
Yeah.
Fun to play.
I should take a second to say we've been doing our best to shout out people and pronounce their names as best we can after each of the tracks. If you go to our Bandcamp page, which is where this album is for sale, thegamebrass.bandcamp.com, every time you click on a track name, the full credits for that track are available there. And if you Google search literally any name on any track, you will find an entire YouTube channel, Spotify,
a plethora
list.
of stuff from everyone on here.
Every one of these people is so talented and a producer and musician in their own right. So thank you so much to all of our collaborators. I can't emphasize enough how cool it was to get to work with all of you. And we're doing our absolute best to try and shout you all out every track.
Yeah, getting to expand our brass family like this is a real treat.
You are the heroes of time.
Absolutely.
It is actually my turn even. Wow.
It is. Yeah.
We set it up that way. Go for it, Robby.
I should say with this one, Clocktown was the most concept-driven of all the tracks on this album, and that concept being the general premise of Majora's Mask. The world is going to end in 72 hours in 3 days, so as you progress throughout the main city of Clocktown, which is where you'll be spending most of your time, you see gradually the townsfolk are enjoying day one, and then you see how they react as the ongoing threat of the moon causing an apocalypse looms closer and closer. But at the very end, Link plays the Song of Time, and in fact, the game brass also plays the Song of Time. That's what's going on in the tubas towards the end of the arrangement, once the tension reaches its apex, and then it's a new day, and the 3-day cycle resets.
This is what we
Dawn
call
of a
a
new dude.
program piece.
Yes, very programmatic.
So,
Go ahead, John Robert.
no, I was going to say, we actually going to turn it over to Danny Flam here.
Yeah.
To intro the next piece.
So the next piece is called Hyrule Field from the Twilight Princess by Toru Minagishi. And I just want to say something, that this project has been like a journey. And it's like it progressively became like more difficult, because Daniel was like, "Oh, so you played that, huh? Let me see if you can play this." So it's like progressively. So yeah, so this album, like, it goes from like, this is not the final piece, but the final piece, it just goes bananas. It's like, okay, and then somehow everybody pulled together. It's an amazing group of brass players. So like Robby said, like, you should follow everybody on that list. Go down the list of credits. Each person in his own right is a really great musician and composer, or whatever they're doing musically. So yeah. So without further ado,
Hyrule Field.
is your career credits. Dan.
Yeah. Huh. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was Hyrule Field from the Twilight Princess by Toru Minagishi, and the credits are the additional to us, everybody that's here on the stream. There was Nathan Benegas on trumpet. There was Robert Burton on trumpet. James Negus on French horn. Eric L. on alto trombone. Ethan Santos on trombone. Jacob McNatt on trombone. Isaac Smith played tuba. And our one and only Thomas Kresge played trumpet on this one. Woo!
Woo-hoo.
So,
I missed
yeah.
the trumpet.
That's
So,
you.
yeah.
You can't look behind you.
For some reason.
Okay, so the next one is being introduced.
This guy.
Woo!
Yeah, next up we have a beloved track from Link's Awakening, composed by Kazumi Totaka.
Enjoy.
Okay, actually, that wasn't our real Link's Awakening track.
But it was fun, right?
But it
You
was
enjoyed
fun. It was
That was
fun.
our
You got
April
to
Fool's track.
you got to listen to
Good time.
John Roberts sing. Always a treat.
John Frogbert in that one.
Which
He's
hopefully
got a-
we'll have some
he's
more
got a
of in the
frog in his
future.
throat.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Or no, the frog is out of the throat because
Yes,
the word
yes.
frog was what he said.
Next up, we have our real Link's Awakening track, "The Ballad of the Windfish," composed by Kazumi Totaka and Minako Hamano. And here we go. We'll have a listen. And we're back. That was Ballad of the Windfish from Link's Awakening. Actually not a console Zelda game until the year 2020 or whenever that came out. So that's how Daniel loopholed that into the album.
Wait, are you considering the Game Boy not a console?
The Game Boy is not a console. It is
That's
a
a
handheld.
lie. It's a handheld console.
10 hours later.
But everything else is a non.
So wait, a
handheld
Switch.
console.
So what's a Switch?
The
It's a
Switch
console.
the Switch is fundamentally
It's
a
a Switch.
console.
It's
It
a
can be
hybrid
handheld,
console.
but it's
It's all-
It's
fundamentally
both a
a console.
handheld and a normal one.
It's a toy
There we
is
go.
what it is. So on that track though, we do want to shout out the
Yes.
people who played on it. We
Yes.
not seen here though is also David Ortiz on trumpet, Matthew Gagliardo on trumpet, Peter Jones on trumpet, Andrew Meredith on French horn, and Eric L on alto trombone, Chris Cercelli on bass trombone, Andrew Grabowska on euphonium, and Isaac Smith on tuba. So as I noted in the chat, that video took well over 20 hours, well over 24 hours for sure to render, to just get it out for
Mistakes were made.
good and bad reasons. There's just a lot of effects I decided to throw on. Having 16 video people on screen always takes a long time, and apparently I used the wrong kind of blur on the edges, and it added time. Point is you should plan your videos days in advance instead of just hours in advance.
Or if your name is Ro, 4 months in advance.
Yeah, or months in advance to get the render done. Anyway, that was Ballad of the Windfish from Link's Awakening. We got 2 more tracks left.
We do. The only thing I have to say about that one, arrangement-wise, is Ballad of the Windfish is kind of the overarching song that appears throughout the entire sequence of events in Link's Awakening. So with that arrangement, I did my best to include allusions to just about every single time that the Windfish theme is heard, from when you're conversing with Marin, to the very end of the game when you actually open up the egg, to when you hear the song for the first time. It's a lot more pensive and emotional than some of the other ones, and that because of that, it made it an interesting challenge to arrange for 16-piece brass, which is a very powerful fanfare-like ensemble. So this was a way of trying to do something more soft and emotional too. Also, not to be left out is this was a way of including the fairy fountain theme, which ended up being like an idea that I had in the shower, because I just happened to notice that the chord progressions lined up almost exactly. There was only one chord of the Fairy Fountain theme that I had to alter in order to get the Windfish melody to lie over on top of it correctly. And yeah,
That's wicked.
You gotta
That's
warn
so
us though
good.
before you reveal things like you open the egg. Like that's a spoiler, man. Come on, jeez.
But is it hard boiled or is it soft boiled?
Good point. Good point. Thank you. You didn't spoil that.
There's no way of knowing.
What came first, though? The
volcano or the egg?
Yeah.
Oh,
So anyway, let's move on. I will say a lot of cool video shout outs in that last one. I think Thomas played it down a little bit with just saying that the blur took a long time. There's like a plastic effect on everybody. And we did these like animated wings so everyone could like float around. And David Ortiz is like one of the goddesses and whatever. It's really cool.
I mean,
I really
he
like that
is
video.
in real life
there's
too.
So much blur on everything. And yeah, very, very many hours of rendering. Let's move on to the next track. The next track is from A Link to the Past. Now, I get the pleasure of introducing this one, but I know that this game is probably Daniel's favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've spent many hours watching Daniel play A Link to the Past Randomizer, which is a mod of A Link to the Past where either treasure chests, their contents get randomized, or doors get randomized where they go. And it makes it really interesting to watch a new run every time. And, you sort of have speedrun strats at the same time. I really enjoyed that. So anyway, this game is near and dear to our hearts. I really pushed hard to have Dark World be the choice from this game. There were a bunch of, there could have been any number of choices. We've already played Hyrule Castle before on our Castles album. We've already played the Hyrule Field theme in a live performance we did one time. And it's a great soundtrack. And I don't think this is the last you're going to hear of us and A Link to the Past soundtrack. I have recently started a very large undertaking project that I'll tell you about in the not too distant future. I will just say this, that it is going to be the 30th anniversary of A Link to the Past on November 21st of this year. It is truly the year of Zelda. With that, let me set this up for you. My concept for this video, I was the editor on this one. I really liked having the pixel world, like the pixel maps, and I wanted to have pixelated players, but I didn't want to do that the whole time. So I did this sort of thing where you zoom in on a person in their location on the world map, and then it brings them up to like a real life version of what that would be. So, Alana is at the Ice Palace, and Jackie is at Misery Mire or whatever. And without further ado, let me get into it. This is The Dark World from A Link to the Past. That was Dark World from Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And right at the end there, some people go like, huh, what was that? That is the sound effect that happens when you transition between the Dark World and the Light World. So we went from the Dark World to the Light World right at the very end. I did the screen effect. So we hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun to put together. That was the one track on this album that Alison Martin is not a performer on. So you have to hide.
Never let it go.
But actually performing on that track, shout out to Avery Yonohiro on trumpet, Ken Crouch, our longtime collaborator on trumpet, Lana Yee, French horn, Jackie Fazakis, French horn, Eric L, alto trombone. I should also say he's on almost every track on this album as well.
He's
if not
on
every
track.
every
Eric
track
is on
as
every
well.
track, yeah.
Jacob McNatt on trombone, Abby Lannon on euphonium, Isaac Smith euphonium. He is on every track.
Yep, Isaac
Yeah.
Smith is also on every
Shout out
track.
to Isaac, and Dashan Grata on tuba. It's occurring to me now as I say his name, Dacian. I don't know how to say your name. I've never heard your name said.
Is it Dashin?
Same. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. We love you.
Sound off in
All right,
chat.
you're
if you
wonderful.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us how
great.
to say your name.
In terms of like getting people on board for this album, I will say that this was a lot of worlds colliding. There were some people that I have known since high school, such as Chris Cursilli. There are some people that I met in college who I was able to get on board, such as Robert Burton. And there were a lot of people from the VGM scene who have channels. And then there were a lot of people who I was just like, looking through YouTube, looking through the VGM scene, looking through Instagram, classical scene, who I was able to discover, like their playing, asked them to be on the album, and they were so kind enough as to say yes. And like in Allison's case, Allison and I hadn't really met before I asked her to be part of this, and Allison played on every single track except for this one. So it's amazing how it works out. Nathan Benegas as well, he has appeared multiple times on Nico Mendoza's channel, and I saw his trumpet playing on that, and his trumpet playing sounded great. I asked him for this, and he said yes, and it was really a pleasure getting all of these extremely talented people that I've known from various places throughout life on board to make this a reality, and it really has been a dream project for me.
Yeah, I'll echo that for the rest of us too. I mean, there's so many people that we've collaborated with. Our band will be 4 years old in about a month. Our first video was uploaded on August 19th, and it was a quintet, and the French horn player at the time was Marc Papagin. And he is, again, a collaborator that we had on this album. And all along the road, we've had a lot of really great, talented collaborators, and we're just really happy that you could all be a part of this. I will say, for anyone just joining us, this is our listening party for the Horns of Hyrule album. It is now available on Bandcamp. That is thegamebrass.bandcamp.com. It is available as digital and physical. The physical albums are shipping out right around our band's 4th birthday. So that's really exciting for us. This is our, how many albums have we made now? 5th album?
This is our fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep,
Gosh.
our very first album that we began working on, Castles, was not our first album to release.
It was our fourth.
Instead, we released a wonderful holiday album called Snowtopia, a horror themed album called Brassylvania. Last year saw the lovely Flight of Fancy. Shoot, why am I forgetting this? Brasino Isles
Tropical Cruise.
There we are. And then we finally launched Brass Castles, which is a lovely exploration of all the castle themes and fortress themes you love from video games. And then finally, this year, just a few days ago, we bring you the Horns of Hyrule. Yes, literally yesterday, the Horns of Hyrule. So I think that's actually our first one specific game series album that we've done, like any kind of major thing. So we've touched on like suites of things, like we did a suite from Grim Fandango before. We've done repeated things from like, you know, Mario games and things of that sort that have appeared in many of our albums, but this is our first one franchise, one like gaming icon album. And
that's all thanks to Daniel Romberger, who just did a wonderful job. Just amazing arrangements all the way around, choosing fantastic pieces to begin with. He really genuinely loves Zelda, and
Yes.
and it shows
Yeah.
in his work.
A little bit.
So it is therefore, as someone who did not work on any other arranging on this album, my distinct pleasure to introduce the last piece on this thing. This is from the most recent Zelda game, mainline Zelda game. This is Cass's theme from Breath of the Wild, written originally by Yasuaki Iwata. And I think you're going to like it. So sit back and enjoy. and that was Cass's theme from The Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild. One of my honestly favorite tracks in the album, featuring everyone you see here, but also Matthew Gagliardo, Robert Burton, Peter Jones, Eric L., Jacob McNatt, Chris Cercelli, Abigail Lannon, and Isaac Smith, in addition to your regularly scheduled game brass. It is honestly like one of my favorite charts, and maybe it's just because I have a penchant for that kind of 19th century Viennese waltz sort of aesthetic, or where we have these very florid lines. The fact I got to kind of kick things off with one myself, but also just like Danny Flam with his Carnival of Venice references and the beautiful euphonium solo cadenza that we got for Abby there. That's just choice, chef's kiss, wonderful.
Yep.
It's a great track. I like things that sound like old things. I don't know if that's just me, but it's just very tasteful and lovely. So we felt it would be a nice way to round off the album, and that panoramic shot, the chorus, and just wonderful. Amazing work.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, that one, my initial concept for it was, since Cass's theme is a relatively short loop, my initial concept was going to be starting with one instrument and then just gradually adding one voice until it got to the full 16. But then as I was going through it a little bit more, I felt that the pacing of that was too slow and didn't offer quite as many opportunities for variation as I would like. So instead, I treated it kind of as instead of a large 16-person ensemble, a set of smaller like chamber ensembles where everyone has a turn having the melody, everyone has a turn and playing some sort of solo moment. Some of people's solo moments are like absolutely incredibly difficult. Like Alex Hill, in addition to Danny Flam and Abby Lannon, had a very difficult tuba solo that my inspiration for that was actually Thomas's arrangement of Spirit of Hospitality from Brassylvania. So it took a lot of very masterful playing for this piece in particular to get together. So super huge shout outs to all the people who collaborated with us, both for this and for everything else in the album.
Woo! It really all came together stupendously well. I love it. But yeah, no, that is it for that. But do we want to delve into any more fun stuff, or how are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, so we just talked about a lot of the people who were on the tracks, but I want to take a second to point out an Easter egg that is on this album. There is something that is in every track that you may or may not have noticed. Sound out in the chat if you think you know what I'm about to talk about. Actually, Daniel, why don't you take it away?
It's a musical Easter egg. We should mention.
It is a musical Easter egg. Should I give away what it is, or should we play it?
We can play it if you like. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here we.
So all right. I'll say what it is, and then we'll play it. So in the Legend of Zelda games, whenever Link opens up an item, he has a penchant for holding it over his head, and there is a particular fanfare that is in common with just about every game in the series, and every single track has this fanfare somewhere. So without further ado, here's a compilation of every single track on this album.
Think of it as like, those greatest hits albums that you get the ad for and it just goes from one to the next. That's this. Enjoy. Well, we hope that was your chance to acquire all of the items in our item shop, and that you enjoyed that ridiculous little Easter egg. How do you like that? I just came up with that with on the spur of the moment. No, anyway,
Genius.
thank you. It's
I mean, that's in addition to all the other themes worked into the arrangements. So
yeah,
True.
yeah.
there's a
it's-
lot of Zelda hidden in this Zelda. in this Zelda here.
Zelda's all up in the Zeldas.
We heard you liked Zelda, so we put some Zelda in your Zelda. That's the joke, right? Did I do it right?
This was actually 11 different renditions of the exact same song. So there's just a little bit of some other song or other songs on top of it. But yeah, that was 40 seconds of every single item get in the album. So now, as you're listening to the album, I'm going to post another Bandcamp link in chat. As you're listening to the album, you can now try to find them all.
Gotta catch up. No.
Gotta collect all the items.
Different series.
Close.
Break all the pot, collect all the
Games
items.
are hard, you guys. I just can't do this.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this album, etc., etc.
That's
There
right.
you go.
So when is our Wand of Gamelon album?
Oh no!
Where we recreate all the cutscenes.
That soundtrack is actually really, really good. And the fact that we could do it with shenanigans cutscenes would make it even better.
Okay, wait. Can we actually just reenact all the best scenes, like in really cheaply? No. Are we formulating a horror? Are we formulating a Game Brass terrible idea TM on screen right now?
Or maybe we could save some of those for maybe like a meme album.
Yeah, we have a channel in our Game Brass Slack called Terrible Ideas. And at any point, you sit up and you wake up and sit up at 3 a.m. and you go, we should make t-shirts. You go to the Terrible Ideas channel and you put, we should make t-shirts, and then you try to go back to sleep. We have had some, let's see if there's anything I can, I've got low battery on my phone. That's not good.
I could pull things from Terrible Ideas if you want.
Yeah, don't reveal too much, but.
Let's see here. Let's see here. There's some good. I mean, these are not horrible ideas. They're all great ideas.
Okay, my favorite one so far is I forgot about t-shirts again.
That was pretty good. Yeah. There's definitely. I mean, let's see. Yeah. There's the terrible idea. Let's see. Erect a Game Brass statue. That was one. That was a terrible idea. We shouldn't do that. Let's see. Then there was the one where we were making a montage of things, and I suggested that we just very cleverly actually go back to the source audio and take all of the actual original recordings, strip out all the reverb, and glue them together like a whole new arrangement, just a medley of bam, 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 bam. And I suggested this, and Thomas removed me from the channel immediately. It's just like, you've been removed from this channel by an administrator. And I was personally hurt, but that's how it goes.
Is that a badge of honor?
I think so.
I'm trying to get the rules.
I think if Thomas mutes you randomly or kicks you from something, you're doing something right. Really.
We know it's a good Game Press meeting when John Robert gets muted by Thomas for a very, very hilarious pun.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
How it goes.
My favorite line in this channel is just one, and it's just John Robert, and it just says, "I am the master of terrible ideas." That is my favorite. And then we all heart emoji that.
Yeah, there was the we should erect a statue. Thomas's response to this was, "Don't abuse this terrible privilege." The channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he finishes with, "But I'll add it to the agenda."
We had one terrible idea, which actually I think is a pretty good idea. Something we've been stewing over. Can I mention the album, the fireplace, the etc. comp?
Yeah, of course.
So we had a terrible idea for several of our albums that we were thinking of doing, which is actually all of our terrible ideas start off as this would be fun, and then they become incredibly high effort, high concept garbage so fast it's amazing. So the concept for this one was, would people be interested if we back when we did Snowtopia, our first major album, we had this idea and we didn't act on it yet. And we thought, well, what if we actually just made a little scene by a fireplace, snow falling outside, and we just, put on the Snowtopia album, and you just had the sound of the fire crackling, and the scene would change slowly over time, and we'd go through the entire album on like a little phonograph record or something like that.
So, shout us out in the chat if that is something that you would watch and or listen to.
Yes.
Our entire album as a little maquette, like fireplace channel video of whatever, castles, Brasylvania, Snowtopia.
Yep, you could
Brasino.
be, for Brasino Isles, you'd be on the beach, the waves rolling in, it'd be nice and gentle, and just like the sound of little stereo boombox nestled in the sand playing the album, and you just get that kind of like nice summer vibe right there. Just put it up on your TV and go about your day and listen to our album in this really chill atmosphere.
For Brasylvania, we should do it in a Resident Evil safe room.
Sure.
I was thinking like with like a little jack-o'-lantern and like lightning outside the window. This is reminding me, we have more albums coming up. So one of the things that's sometimes invisible to the people who are watching is that we always have multiple things going on. We try to talk about the thing that is now public, but our next thing that we're already working on, you've already seen some of. Our next big project is called Brass Effect. It is a compilation of space themes, and we have already released to most platforms, including YouTube, the Mass Effect suite, which was arranged by John Robert Matz.
Yep.
And features Videri String Quartet and Purple Shala. Did you want to talk about that at all?
Sure.
Also
absolutely.
features Allison.
Oh, and it does. Yes, it features Allison.
Oh,
I knew
hey, Allison.
we actually had to expand the brass ensemble because it's Mass Effect. It's massive, it's in the name, but also like, it's such a very sophisticated like soundscape that you have. There's like orchestral stuff and tons of synths and giant sampled, impossible to achieve, ensemble stuff in the original game soundtrack. And that trilogy of games is probably my favorite thing in the world, like my favorite game series. So I wanted to do it nicely. And so when we pitched the idea of a space album, the pun was right there. Brass Effect. It had to happen. And then of course we had to do a something from Mass Effect, and then of course the terrible ideas happen, and so we did a whole suite. Well, I did a whole suite. I said, yeah, sure, I'll do this, and then proceeded to write way too many pieces from the entire trilogy, and then weave them together into kind of a pseudo programmatic journey through the Mass Effect timeline, from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3. I'm incredibly pleased with how that came out. Videri String Quartet we have collaborated with several times in the past. They're wonderful.
They're our
Purple
favorite.
Shala as well. And so getting this kind of like
She's our favorite.
piano and strings and slightly beefier brass ensemble was a real joy. If you haven't seen it yet, check that video out. I know I'm plugging my own stuff. I hate plugging my own stuff, but check that video out. It's a lot of fun. It is a visual feast, really. Like Thomas did such a good job editing, and Alex got all of this really great video capture of the game. Alex is probably the other person in the game brass who is really like stoked for Mass Effect stuff, as I am. So it was good to have someone who's like, let's get some good footage, and we just made a nice thing. So by all means, check that out. We've got a whole ton of really cool other space arrangements coming, including some of the people in the chat right now are actually working on them. So including at least I think everyone on this call has arrangements that they have written for this. And the ones that we've heard so far are really a treat. So I think
I would like to reveal as a teaser, and I will say this to people who are like, why are they talking so long? We're stalling, waiting for a video to render. The next, this 2 videos from now in our schedule, like this, don't hold me to this, but the plan is that we will release another Brass Effect video, not 2 weeks from now, but in 4 weeks from now. And that is going to be something that our dear friend Allison Martin has arranged.
It's really good.
It is.
Is it? Oh,
It is. You did
glad to
great.
hear that.
You did good. It's a lovely piece. So we shouldn't say what it is though, because it's a secret, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
secret.
We gotta keep some
okay.
secrets.
Actually, I edited it on stream, so we already know.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
That's true.
okay.
Sorry,
Daniel.
This is an opportunity to bring up a lot of what we did for Horns of Hyrule has been done behind closed doors. But for Brass Effect, we're going to be reaching out and trying to do a lot more content just in public, the behind the scenes creative stuff. So we have a Twitch account now. It is twitch.tv/thegamebrass. You can give it a follow. A lot of what we do on Twitch and what we've done so far, we've done arrangements behind the scenes. We've done playing through games and capturing video footage. And we'll be doing a lot of that stuff in a more public-facing way for Brass Effect and potentially for future projects as well, depending on how it goes. In addition to that, we have a Discord channel. The Discord is linked in all of our YouTube descriptions and also in this live stream link, if I recall correctly.
Yep. If you want to get like an inside track on that stuff, we always make sure to announce things in advance, and we frequently do stuff on there where we're fielding questions and talking about like to people in our Discord community. It's a wonderful group of people, by the way. The people in our Discord community about the stuff we're working on. So by all means, join. It's a wonderfully welcoming group of folks, and I think you'll like it. But yeah, pop in. The Discord link is in our description. And it's in every other video's description as well.
Yes.
So we look forward to seeing you there.
People are realizing just now that we're actually multi-streaming to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time right now. So Doug Perry just asked, "Can I be the Game Brass?" in the chat, and the answer is yes. Yes,
He
Doug,
already
you can
is.
be the Game Brass.
He has already been the Game Brass
He
before.
has been,
You're the
and
Game
he is
Brass.
has been, is, and will be.
The only
Game
thing
Brass.
missing is S. Perry Tuba. We need to collaborate with
Yes.
Doug's professional tuba playing father.
I hear he's pretty great. I played with him once.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, on a screen, he was right there.
Oh, right, yeah.
For the Paper Mario Origami King
With him on
video.
that.
It was so close, you guys. Right here.
We're still stalling because I should just tell everybody.
What is the ETA?
We're 1 minute and 20 seconds.
So 1 minute
I'm using
and 20
my really good
seconds.
computer to actually stream right now. So I'm using my less really good computer to render a video that I forgot we were doing on stream today. But we have a wrap-up video that we're going to be playing at the end of the stream. I hope you're looking forward to it. So stick around. One last time I will say, thegamebrass.bandcamp.com. This is the Horns of Hyrule. It is 11 tracks with 16 players on each track. The instrumentation changes between, from track to track, but we had over 40 people who played on this album, and we couldn't be prouder of how things have gone with it. So thank you for sticking with us, and thank you to all of our collaborators.
Yes.
34
100%
seconds left in the
yes.
render.
If you feel like helping us out while we stall for time, feel free to tell your friends about the album. That makes a huge difference. Buying it is great. Posting about it on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, etc., is immensely helpful.
Absolutely.
We're out on Bandcamp right now, as was mentioned. We also have all the other storefronts and streaming services coming as soon as everything goes through. And we also have a pre-order open. Actually, it's not even a pre-order; it's an order.
It's an order now.
For the physical compact disc version of the album. If you are a physical media collector, that is a cool way to get it. So highly recommend. Pop over and check it out. But yeah, how's that render going, Robby?
It's done.
Look at that.
Let's go.
Just in time. So wrapping this up here, we have one final thing for you all. And really, it's a thank you from everyone here to everyone involved in this project, and to you, the community that enjoys the nonsense that we do. So, Robby, would you care to?
I would love to introduce this, but actually, I want to hand the final word over to Daniel because this has been his labor of love.
Feels right.
Oh man! All right, this is
No
the part
pressure.
where I say words that make sense.
And don't cry.
And don't cry. So, the Horns of Hyrule, I've been wanting to do a Zelda album in general for just about as long as I've been in the video game music scene. And for being part of the Game Brass, I had the idea to make a Zelda album. I think I talked with you, Robby, shortly before we released Brassylvania. It was something like that the first time that I brought it up. And then when we heard it was the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda franchise, I'm just like, this is the opportunity. Let's go for it. So we had a precedent for 16-person large brass ensemble arrangements, and I just love this series so much, and really wanted to do it and do it as best as I can and pull out all the stops and do it right and get so many people on board. So I am extremely grateful to everyone who we've worked with on this enormous project for making it happen. Like, every single arrangement is challenging in its own way. It's long in its own way. It tells a story. It goes through a narrative, and just the amount of soul and heart and energy that people put forth into this is incredible. And I would not have been able to do it without the support of every single one of you. So thank you all so much. I hope I said words correctly.
You did great.
Please enjoy our last video of the evening.